Well, hello everybody, and I've got a couple things going on, and the first one is I wanted to thank everybody for your concerns and your best wishes, and to let you know that I'm doing just fine. I am pain-free, and I have to admit it was pretty painful for a while, but I'm doing just fine, and hopefully I'll have an actual turning video coming up soon. And this will be about turning, and you're looking at one of my shelves of my favorite segmented turnings, and I have to admit this is just a small amount of my segmented turnings, but I put this shelf up just so I could have them on display, and they're sitting in back of me right now. This is my little computer room, and you see right there it's also my music room. There's one of my guitars sticking up. So what I want to do, because I've been asked many times, how do I come up with shapes, and the other question is, I want to get into segmented turning. I don't know where to start. It just seems so complicated. So I want to try to break this down so that if you want to try it, you can do it. And you know, you're not going to be able to do it until you try it. And you'll find out it's really not that hard. So this one right here, for instance, it has straight walls on it. That's where I would recommend someone starting with a segmented turning. Not this guy here with all of this, and maybe not even that. This one here, forget that it has a slanted segment, because that's more complex, but we're going to look at it like this one where the segments are straight up and down. So I'm going to show you a section that has a straight side on it. It's not going to look anything like this, but I guarantee you it's the same idea. And then I'll show you some of the software that I use, and I'll tell you about some free software that you can use and create all this. And I'll tell you what I like about the software that I've purchased. So let's go ahead and get going on this, and I'll see if I can make sense out of what I'm telling you. So we're going to go to another window here, and I'll show you a sketch that I did. Now, I did this on paper, but then I brought it into this program here. It's my CAD program. So I'll put the links to these other things. There's a piece of software. It's called Design Spark. It's totally free, and it actually is probably better software than what I purchased here a number of years ago. But this software is for running my CNC milling machine as well as making drawings. But that other one called Design Spark, you could do all of this in here. It's absolutely free. So this is nothing more than some straight lines, similar to that bowl I talked about. How would I draw this up and get accurate and figure out segments from it? You do it on a piece of grid paper. Okay, I'll zoom in here. See these little grids? You could draw your shape on here, and let me see, I'm going to add segments to that. And then you take horizontally and you come across here, and where this line intersects the wall, the inside wall, outside wall, you draw a line straight up to the top, straight down to the bottom. You now have your segment right there. And just to show you what you would do next is you would figure out the dimension. That's the inside radius, that's the outside. You could plug these dimensions into some more free programs. One of them is one of my favorites to use. It works on my phone. It's called Segmented Calculator 2. Totally free, works on an Android. I think that the iPhones should have something like that. I don't know what they are because I don't have an iPhone. But once you have that dimension, you could plug it in. It'll tell you how long those segments will be. And I'll show you some of that here shortly. But once you have that, and once you have this, it's a matter of stacking them up. You have your wall section. You now have just created that little simple bowl that I was showing you. Maybe we'll go back and see if we can do this. You'd be creating a wall like this. Not the same one, but the same idea. So that's what we have here. So what I've done is I want to take this off, and this off. So when I'm happy with this shape or a paper sketch that I've done, I'll do a screen capture of this, or I'll take a photograph of the sketch on paper And then I'll save it and import it into a program called 3D Design Pro. And that's what that is. And I've already saved it. So I'll show you how you do this. You go down to background and add a photo. That's this one. I'll move this photo over to the left edge because that represents the center of your shape. And then it's a matter of adding some nodes to this. And those are just control points. That's what a node is here. Now if this was a curved bowl you were making, you just follow that curve and do the exact same thing. So what I want to do is lock this point to the corner like that, and then we'll lock this one here, and we have exactly what I want right there. Okay, that's good enough. I could make adjustments by adding nodes here, but I can also do it in Woodturner Pro. So this is where it gets pretty cool. We're going to import that into that program. So up here is a thing that looks like a globe. Transfer to Woodturner Pro. That just highlighted, and there's our shape. And I know from what I did on paper that I want that to be 7 inches in diameter. And it is. It didn't change, but it won't show you that it's changing. It just did it. I don't want that to be a 1/2 inch. I'm going to change that just because of the design I have in mind. Normally a base might be thicker, and I might change my mind down the road. None of this is cast in concrete. I make changes as I go, and that's what we're doing here. And I do my final changes with my gouge. So what we need to do here is add more rows. By default, the first row with this program is 3/4. I'll change that to 1/8 of an inch, and that's a pretty thin layer, and you're going to see why here maybe in a week or two when I actually attempt to make this. This is in the design stage. Over here you go new row, and we start adding rows till we get up to the top. If it doesn't line up perfect, that's okay. That's pretty close. I'll call that good. Now that doesn't look like it's going to do much. It looks like a cylinder like that. Watch this magic here. This is really cool to watch. I never get tired of this. Boom, there's our shape. And there's all of our segments. They just automatically set theirself. I don't have to measure anything. It's done. So I find this pretty easy to do compared to doing a sketch on a piece of grid paper. So the actual shape looks something like that. Now, as I was saying, you're not stuck with this shape. So over here I can add nodes in this program. And the only thing I'm not fond of is that shape there. And I knew that. It was just easy to draw, and I knew that I could come in here and just put some nodes in there. And I probably want one more right there. Then I can make little adjustments. And we want to see what that looks like. Snap it, and it just readjusted. Now, that doesn't look too bad. Again, I can do my adjusting here as well. I think that might be a little bit big there, and I think this needs to tuck in a little bit. But you know what? This can all be done at the lathe. There, that's pretty nice. So that's only an 1/8 inch thick. This is kind of what I plan on doing here in a couple of weeks, maybe started in a week, and you'll get to see the whole process where I cut these rings. So when I do make this, I don't plan on using segments. I plan on using 2 other methods that I use in bowl construction. One is a bowl from a board, although this will be a bowl from 4 very thin boards. And the other is a dizzy bowl construction, and that's how I do dizzy bowls. I usually have 4 layers, fairly thin. I try to keep it below 0.2 inches because anything much thicker than that and you don't have quite the design that I like to get. The thinner the boards, the more dramatic the design you'll end up with. I don't think I plan on making this a dizzy bowl, but it's going to be something different, and it still should be pretty cool. So make sure you watch for that. It'll be coming up pretty soon. So pretty basic, not too hard to do. This program here is so smart. If I didn't want to calculate each one of these sizes, I've got a spreadsheet right here. Every ring tells the outside diameter, inside diameter, and the edge length that you cut your segment. This is what that looks like. Here's that segment on that top row. It's 1 7/8 long. The board is 29/32 wide. It's 15-degree angle. You're not locked into that. That's a default 12. If I change that to 24, watch what happens to that segment. It's a new size because there's 24. It's still the same length this way, the board width, but it's now 29/32 wide. You can do that to every row. You can watch it happen over here if I do all of them. Let's do it. Let's do 48 just for fun. I'll watch this. That's what 48 looks like. Here's what they look like looking. Well, that's the base. Sorry. So this is what that looks like looking down on it. It's 48 segments. I can also go through here and look at each ring like that. Pretty powerful program. So I think I've covered most everything, and I can always do another video if you missed anything that I didn't do or you're interested in more things. So stay tuned. I think this is going to actually turn into a turning, which it hasn't yet. I just don't want to go out in my shop. Most of the wood that I would use for this is up on a shelf, and right now I don't feel like getting up and down on a stool, but I will shortly, and we'll have this done. And again, thank you so much for all your concerns and best wishes. And if you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to leave a comment, I love to read the comments. And if you like what you saw here and you're not subscribed, this is just a small amount of things that I do, and usually there would be a turning attached to this, but right now I just don't feel like I should be doing it. And to all you current subscribers, thank you very much. I really appreciate all of you. So till the next time, see you later.